Good day, listeners. Welcome to the world of Chandamama. Today, let's learn the chronicles of India, starting from the beginning of 20th century, as documented in the 2001 January edition of Chandamama. India in the 20th century. March towards freedom, 1901 to 1921. Not long ago, this magazine commemorated the Golden Jubilee of India's independence by bringing you the exciting story of the fight led by Lakshmi Bai, the Rani of Jhansi, and others. The saga of 1857 told you how they sacrificed their lives for the sake of their motherland. For the next quarter of a century, there was no organized movement to channelize the people's aspirations. By a strange quirk of events, it fell to the task of Alan Hume, a former British official, to sow the seeds of an organization where the people could discuss and decide how their future would be. Thus was born in 1885 the Indian National Congress, which took up the cause of Indian nationalism. Indian thought was guided by leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Lala Lajpat Rai, and Bipin Chandra Pal. Spread of Indian nationalism. The advent of 20th century saw India struck by famine. One-fourth of the population was affected. A commission was appointed to study irrigation possibilities to extend the area of cultivation. A committee was also formed to start agricultural banks. Though administrative reforms remained a far cry for Indians, the rulers of Indian states went ahead with social reforms. For example, the Gaikwad of Baroda introduced the Child Marriage Prevention Act, raising the age of marriage for boys to 16 and girls to 12. Parsis who had fled from Persia in the 8th century and made India their new home had merged with the ambitions and hopes of the people. There were many patriots among them. Jamshedji Tata was a man of vision. His aim was to see an industrialized India. He established the first steel mill in Sakchi in Bihar in 1901. 6 years later, it was formally named the Tata Iron and Steel Mill, and the place came to be known very appropriately as Jamshedpur. Yet another Parsi, Madam Bikaji Kama, who used to attend the annual sessions of the Congress, in 1902 embarked on a world tour to spread the message of Indian nationalism. Her tour took her to Stuttgart in Germany, where, at the Second International Socialist Congress, she unfurled the tricolour, which was later to become India's national flag. Among those who saluted the flag was Lenin, who was to become one of the leaders of the Russian Revolution. Madam Kama was hailed as the mother of Indian Revolution. Meanwhile, in England, Edward VII ascended the throne in 1901. One of the first journeys he undertook was to India in 1903, where in Delhi he was crowned Emperor of India. He announced a remission of interest on loans given to famine-affected provinces. The Imperial Agricultural Research Institute was established in village Pusa in Bihar, now known as the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, located in New Delhi. Strong anti-British feelings. An industrial exhibition became a feature of the annual sessions of the Congress, first in Ahmedabad 1902 and then in Madras 1903. The Indian Cooperative Act came into force in 1904 with a view to encouraging people engaged in such spheres of activity like agriculture, industry, and banking to form cooperatives. Travancore became the first Indian state to make primary education free for all classes of children. The year 1905 saw the partition of Bengal into East Bengal, including Assam with the capital at Dhaka, and West Bengal, including Bihar and parts of Orissa with capital at Calcutta. The government explained that it was done for administrative convenience, but people thought it was to keep the predominantly Muslim populated areas away from the center of government in the capital city of Calcutta. Naturally, there was great resentment among the people, giving rise to stronger anti British feelings. There was widespread boycott of British goods. Bengal was now in the forefront of the freedom struggle. The government gave greater importance to agriculture by starting agricultural colleges in Pune, Nagpur, Kanpur, and Coimbatore. The song Vande Mataram was sung for the first time at the 22nd session of the Congress at Calcutta in 1906. Dadabhai Navroji was the president. M. A. Jinnah attended the session as a member. Aurobindo Ghosh started an English newspaper calling it Vande Mataram, with the main aim of carrying on the fight against British rule. Moderates versus radicals. There was a split in the Congress in 1907 at its Surat session when some of the radicals advocated strong action to oust the foreign rulers from the country, while the moderates wanted India to remain in the British Empire but with equal rights. The radicals held a meeting at the same venue, presided over by Aurobindo Ghosh. Support came from Tilak and Bipin Chandrapal. The moderates held a separate meeting led by Dr. Ras Bihari Bose, Surendranath Banerjee, and Gokhale. The radicals returned to the Congress fold in 1916. The government alleged complicity of some of the radicals in the Alipore bomb case of 1908. Aurobindo Ghosh was arrested and imprisoned. This was a turning point in his life. He declared that karma is better than fighting, which should have a spiritual foundation to succeed. On his release next year, he left active politics. Bombay witnessed the first ever labor strike in the country when, to protest the arrest of Tilak, some 1 lakh workers struck work for 6 days. They clashed with the police and the army. The long-awaited administrative reforms were announced following the passing of the India Reforms Act of 1909. A milestone had been reached, though not to the entire satisfaction of some of the nationalist leaders. It was decided to include Indians in the government at the center and in the provinces. Sir Satyendra Prasanna Sinha became the first Indian member of the Viceroy's Executive Council. Raja Kishore Lal Goswami was the Indian member of a state executive council. Chidambaram Pillai of Tuticorin and South India founded the first Swadeshi shipping company. He sold shares valued at 10 rupees each, and with the money thus collected, he hired 2 ships which sailed the seas. That marked the beginnings of the shipping industry in India. Call for Hindu-Muslim unity. 10 persons convicted in the Alipore bomb case were for the first time deported to the Andamans, where they were imprisoned for life in the cellular jail. Till it was closed down in 1938, the jail received 500 convicts in all. Madanlal Dhingra, who was in England for higher studies, was executed for shooting down an English official. The National Indian Association condemned Dhingra's act, The lone voice against the resolution was heard from V.D. Savarkar. The Allahabad session of the Congress in 1910 was once again presided over by an Englishman, Sir William Barron. The Congress had as members Indians educated in England besides Englishmen. An Englishman was therefore chosen as a president to avoid a wedge being created among the members and to sink all the differences between Hindus and Muslims and between moderates and radicals. The session expressed satisfaction over the government's measures for the welfare of Indians and demanded repeal of the act partitioning Bengal. The demand for the repeal of Bengal Partition Act was conceded by the government. This was announced at the Delhi Darbar held in 1911 to welcome the visiting King George V. He also announced the shifting of country's capital from Calcutta to Delhi. The two Bengals were merged in 1912 and the state remained one single unit until 1947 when East Bengal became a part of Pakistan and was called East Pakistan. It later became a separate nation, Bangladesh, in 1972. The capital of India was shifted to Delhi. The building of a twin city was now planned. Jana Gana Mana, written by Rabindranath Tagore, was sung by him for the first time at the Magadotsav organized by the Brahma Samaj. The song later became national anthem after India became independent. Friends, these are the events that took place till the year 1912. Let's continue the journey in the next session. Thank you for listening. This is Ramya signing off.